The CEO of Capitec said something, and I can't stop thinking about it. He says that they're busy using AI to make their workforce more effective, thus limiting headcount needed in order to scale. That sentence matters more than you can imagine. He didn't say that they're busy firing masses of people. He said that they don't need to hire more people in order to grow further. And I think that explains something really important about what AI is actually doing to South Africa. Most people still imagine this whole thing the wrong way. When they hear that AI is taking jobs, they picture one dramatic moment. A company sends out a statement and hundreds of thousands of people get retrenched at that moment. Everyone panics, it's loud, it's scary, it looks like the end is near. But that's not usually how the shift starts. The way it starts is much quieter than that, and most people don't realize that it's quietly happening in this very moment. The old playbook used to be more clients mean more work, mean more staff to handle the work. But now at this very moment, that changed completely. Instead of employing more people, they just upgrade the systems that they use in order to handle the fulfillment. But fewer new roles are being created because all the heavy lifting is being done by AI infrastructure. So you don't necessarily see it as being laid off, but the company sees it as replacing you in the near future. And that's the part that I think most South Africans are not reading correctly. Because in the current state of the country, that impact is so much greater than it would be on a healthy economy. We are not starting from a position of strength here. The national unemployment rate is around 32%. South Africa is already in a bad situation because it already can't keep up with the amount of work needed. Now add a new technological shift that requires less people in order to grow the company. That is not a small change, that is a structural threat. And the jobs under the most pressure aren't random jobs. They are mostly the jobs that are repetitive, rule-based, process-heavy, and easy to measure. All of these are the points that AI nail on the head. Think basic admin, call center work, data entry, back office support, and a lot of entry-level office work. This is the first step into the career ladder. So people can't even take the first step. You don't start as a manager, you don't start as a strategist, you start by the first step. The stuff that teaches you how systems work. And if those roles are shrinking, the whole ladder gets harder to climb because there is no more first step. There's also another part to this that I find to be very specific to South Africa's current situation. For years, a big part of South Africa's value was the fact that we were able to offer cheap labor. That's why BPO grew. That's why call centers grew. That's why support and back office work became such an important source of jobs. But that advantage gets weaker because the companies no longer have to choose between hiring cheap labor from South Africa or even cheaper labor from elsewhere. But now the problem is they have a third option, and that is automating all types of services with AI, especially that first crucial step. And the moment that becomes viable at scale, the whole calculation changes. That's not a fresh new number. Previous research shows that roughly 35% of South African jobs, which is roughly 5.7 million jobs, stand at risk of AI automation. That's not a fresh new number, but it shows how long that this pressure has been building under the surface. This didn't start this year. This year is just a turning point for when it's becoming harder to ignore. And if you think this is only a South African problem, it's not. You can already see the pattern globally. Snap cut about 1,000 jobs, which is roughly 16% of their workforce, and almost removed hundreds of open roles. That's the key part. Not just that jobs were cut, that future job opportunities were removed too. So when people ask, is AI already replacing jobs? I think the better question is AI actually changing the amount of people a company needs in order to grow? That is why Capitec's quote matters so much, because it says the same thing in a South African context, in plain language. Growth is no longer linked to headcount. That is a huge statement in a country like ours. Now here's why I think the real divide is starting to form. Most people think AI is just a tool or a tech story. It's not. It's a divide story. South Africa is moving into a new divide. It's not just rich and poor, and it's not just employed and unemployed. It's a digital divide. The people who know how to use AI are going to move a lot faster because they're going to work better, be more productive, and they're going to become harder to replace and easier to justify keeping. And the people who don't use it at all are going to feel the pressure from both sides. Not always because they get fired immediately. Sometimes just because they become slower, less efficient, and less attractive to hire than the person next to them. That is how people fall behind. Not always through one dramatic moment, sometimes through 100 small moments where the market quietly starts preferring someone else. And at the same time, demand for AI skills in South Africa jumped 77%. That is the real shift. And I think if you live in South Africa, you shouldn't take this lightly, because we don't have the luxury of absorbing this slowly. So no, I'm not saying that the sky is falling. I'm saying that the old path is getting narrower. The idea that you study, get a qualification, apply for an entry-level role, get in, and work your way up the ladder, that path still exists, but it's under more pressure than most people realize. That's why I put together a free course to take you exactly from someone who's never used AI to someone who's built their first business dashboard. Because I don't want you sitting on the wrong side of this divide, watching the markets move without you. If you want to understand AI properly, learn how to use it, and stay ahead of where this is going, the link to the free course is in the description below.